They've lied to you your entire life. They told you that happiness comes from pleasure, that the goal of existence is to feel good, to stay comfortable, to enjoy yourself. Every commercial, every social media post, every influencer, every song, all whispering the same poison: chase pleasure, avoid pain. But what has that done to you? Look around. Men today are addicted, distracted, weak. Everyone's chasing dopamine hits from their phones, from junk food, from validation, from fake success. You've been trained to obey pleasure like a slave obeys his master. And the cruelest part, you think you're free. That's the modern trap, the illusion of freedom through pleasure. You wake up, scroll your feed, eat garbage, waste hours watching other people live their dreams, and convince yourself you're relaxing. But that relaxation is not peace, it's sedation. You're being numbed, softened, pacified. They've built a world where men voluntarily give up their power just to feel a little comfortable. Because once you start chasing pleasure, you'll never stop. Pleasure doesn't satisfy you, it consumes you. It makes you need more and more until you can't live without it. That's not freedom. That's control, the people at the top, the elites, the system, the so-called masters of society. They know exactly what they're doing. They don't need chains to control men anymore. They use pleasure. They give you endless entertainment so you stop thinking. They give you comfort so you stop moving. They give you distraction so you stop dreaming. You think you're choosing pleasure, but it's pleasure that's choosing you. Every time you click scroll or indulge, someone profits from your weakness. Someone somewhere is making money off your inability to suffer. And that's why the world is filled with men who are busied but not productive, connected but not powerful, comfortable but not happy. Let me tell you something harsh. Real happiness doesn't come from pleasure. It comes from power. Power over yourself, over your emotions, over your environment. And you cannot gain power by avoiding pain. Because the truth is, pleasure destroys purpose. Every great man in history understood this. The warriors, the thinkers, the conquerors, they didn't live for comfort. They lived for conquest. They didn't chase pleasure. They created it through struggle. They knew that if you give your body and mind everything it wants, it will rot. Pleasure feels good for a moment, but it costs you everything in the long run: your discipline, your drive, your potential. The gym hurts, but it builds strength. Waking up early sucks, but it builds momentum. Working while others sleep feels painful, but it builds dominance. Pain creates men. Pleasure destroys them. Yet here you are, surrounded by a generation that worships pleasure like a god. Everyone wants the reward, but no one wants the process. They want the success, but not the suffering that forges it. They want the result without the pain that earns it. And that's why most men stay average forever, because they choose comfort over greatness. You can't grow when you're constantly comfortable. You can't rise when you refuse to struggle. The man who runs from pain runs from progress. The man who avoids hardship avoids mastery, because every bit of pain you feel is the universe shaping you into someone stronger. But the world doesn't want strong men anymore. It wants obedient men. Men who smile, consume, obey, and die quietly. That's the hidden agenda behind all this pleasure. It keeps you soft enough to never rebel, distracted enough to never rise, weak enough to never win. Every time you give in to pleasure, you trade your power for peace. You give away control of your life, piece by piece, moment by moment. You lose your edge. You lose your fire. And when life hits you, you have nothing left to fight with. Because pain is the forge where your strength is built. And if you've spent your life avoiding it, then you've been training yourself to lose. So ask yourself, who benefits from your pleasure? Who profits when you waste time chasing comfort? Who wins when you give up your hunger for greatness just to feel good for 5 minutes? It's not you. It's never been you. You've been programmed to obey, to live small, to numb your potential under the illusion of freedom. But real freedom doesn't come from pleasure, it comes from mastery. And mastery is born in pain. Pain is the greatest teacher you'll ever have. Not your parents, not your school, not the motivational quotes you read online. Pain. Because pain tells the truth. Pain doesn't lie. It doesn't sugarcoat. It doesn't comfort you with excuses. When you're in pain, you're face to face with who you really are. You can't fake strength in pain. You can't pretend to be disciplined, confident, or powerful when you're hurting. Pain exposes everything, and that's why most people run from it. They hide behind distractions, behind comfort, behind fake happiness, because they can't stand seeing themselves without filters. But that's also why most people never grow. They're too afraid to face the fire that forges them into something greater. Every man who's ever built something worth remembering has walked through pain. You think Andrew Tate or any successful man just woke up one morning and found power sitting at his bedside. No, power comes from struggle. It comes from rejection, loss, failure, heartbreak, loneliness, betrayal, all the things that hurt like hell. The difference between the man who wins and the man who quits isn't luck or talent, it's pain tolerance. The winner uses pain as fuel. The loser uses it as an excuse when you're broke. That pain of being broke can either destroy you or drive you. When people doubt you, their doubt can either break you or build you. When life throws you down, that pain can either make you weaker or teach you how to rise. You get to decide what your pain means. Because pain is neutral, it's just energy. And energy can be transformed. The same fire that burns can also forge steel. The same pressure that crushes can also create diamonds. But only if you endure it, only if you face it head on and refuse to let it define you. Pain shows you where your limits are, and then it dares you to go beyond them. That's why pain is essential. Without pain, there's no progress. Without struggle, there's no strength. The gym hurts for a reason. It's your body breaking down so it can rebuild stronger. Life works the same way. Every hardship, every obstacle, every loss is breaking you down so you can rebuild into something more powerful. But most men quit halfway through that process. They feel the pain and they stop. They never get to the other side where the growth happens. So they live stuck, repeating the same cycles, wondering why nothing changes. The truth is, pain is the doorway to every level of greatness. When you embrace pain, you gain power over yourself. And that's the highest form of power there is, self-control. The man who can endure discomfort without running is the man who can win in any arena. He doesn't need life to be easy because he's built to handle it when it's hard. He doesn't pray for lighter burdens, he prays for stronger shoulders. That's the mindset of a champion. That's the mindset of a man who wins no matter what you see. Society teaches you that pain is bad, that it's something to avoid. But that's how they weaken you. They convince you that peace comes from avoiding pain, when in truth, peace comes from mastering it. The man who runs from pain will forever be controlled by it. The man who faces pain owns it, controls it, bends it to his will. Pain becomes his weapon. It becomes his compass. It becomes the signal that he's on the right path, because nothing worth having comes easy. If the path is comfortable, it leads nowhere. If the path hurts, it's taking you somewhere real. That's the paradox of power. The more pain you're willing to endure, the more life you can command. You become stronger, sharper, more aware. Pain burns away weakness, laziness, and ego. It cleanses you. Every time you go through pain and come out the other side, you realize you're harder to break. You start trusting yourself. You stop doubting your capacity. You start to see that every wound you've survived was preparing you for the next battle. And that's when you become dangerous, not because you don't feel pain, but because you've learned to thrive in it. The world respects men who can suffer and still move forward. The universe rewards those who can take a punch and keep walking. Pain is not punishment, it's preparation. It's the process that transforms you from ordinary to exceptional. But you'll never experience that transformation if you keep hiding from it. You have to embrace it. You have to look pain in the eye and say, is that all you've got? Because every second you spend running from pain is another second you spend running from power. And the moment you stop running, the moment you stand your ground and take it, that's the moment everything changes. Every man wants to win. Every man wants success, power, and respect. But very few have the discipline to earn it, because the world today doesn't teach you to be disciplined. It teaches you to chase desire. It tells you that if something feels good, do it. If it feels hard, quit. That's why so many men fail. They're slaves to how they feel. They do what's easy instead of what's necessary. They obey their emotions instead of commanding them. And then they wonder why their lives never change. Discipline is the ultimate form of self-respect. It's when you say, I will do what I said I will do, no matter how I feel. It's the difference between the men who dream and the men who achieve. Discipline doesn't care if you're tired. Discipline doesn't care if you're sad, unmotivated, or stressed. Discipline is action, consistent, relentless action. It's doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. And that's why it's so rare. Because everyone wants to feel good, but no one wants to do what's hard. Everyone wants the reward, but they don't want the process. Desire is a trick. It's a drug disguised as purpose. You think you're chasing what you want, but really your desires are controlling you. You want pleasure, validation, ease, and those wants are exactly what stop you from evolving. The man who lives by desire lives by weakness, because desire is temporary. It changes with mood, with circumstance, with environment. Discipline, on the other hand, is permanent. It's a system. It's a code. It's what keeps you moving when everything else falls apart. When you're chasing desire, you wake up and ask yourself, do I feel like it? When you live with discipline, you don't ask, you act. You don't wait for motivation. You don't need energy. You simply execute. Because discipline isn't about emotion, it's about identity. It's about becoming the kind of man who doesn't break promises to himself. The man who chooses discipline once becomes stronger. The man who chooses it every day becomes unstoppable. That's the real secret of success. Not luck, not talent. Discipline, think about it, every time you give in to desire, you lose a piece of your edge. You skip the workout, you eat the junk, you waste hours on nonsense. And in that moment, you've told your mind that weakness is acceptable. But every time you choose discipline, even when it hurts, you sharpen yourself. You remind your mind who's in control. Discipline rewires your brain to obey you, not your impulses. It turns chaos into structure, laziness into momentum, distraction into domination. The world wants you addicted to desire because it keeps you predictable. When you live by desire, you're easy to control. You'll buy anything, believe anything, do anything that promises a shortcut to comfort. But when you live by discipline, you become dangerous. You can't be manipulated because you no longer need what they offer. You don't crave escape because you found power in control. You stop chasing highs because you've built peace through mastery. You see, men who are ruled by desire always feel empty. They achieve small things and wonder why it doesn't satisfy them. Because desire is a bottomless pit. The more you feed it, the hungrier it gets. But discipline gives you meaning. It gives you direction. It teaches you that fulfillment doesn't come from getting everything you want. It comes from earning what you need. When you live disciplined, even your smallest wins feel powerful. You begin to trust yourself, and that trust builds confidence. Confidence builds consistency, and consistency builds legacy. Discipline is not punishment, it's power. It's not about saying no to pleasure, it's about saying yes to purpose. It's about choosing the long term over the short term. It's about doing what matters even when nobody's watching. That's why discipline feels painful, because it kills your weaker self. Every time you choose discipline, a piece of the old you dies, the lazy, distracted, emotional version of you. And in its place, a stronger, colder, sharper man is born. A man who doesn't negotiate with his excuses. A man who doesn't bow to temptation. A man who doesn't need the world to push him because he pushes himself. That's what separates winners from losers. Not who they are, but what they do daily. Losers follow desire. Winners follow discipline. One lives by comfort, the other by control. One stays the same, the other evolves. You can't build a powerful life on weak habits. You can't build success on impulse. You can't create greatness while chasing feelings. You have to wake up every day and choose discipline, not because it feels good, but because it builds you into something unstoppable. Because the man who controls himself controls the world. Comfort is the silent killer of greatness. It creeps in slowly, softly, whispering in your ear that you've done enough, that you deserve to rest, that life should be easy. And once you start listening, it wraps around you like a blanket, warm, soft, and suffocating. The modern world is built to make you comfortable, not powerful. Everything around you is designed to remove struggle, fast food, instant entertainment, one-click satisfaction, fake validation, and every single one of those conveniences is making you weaker. You don't even notice it happening. That's the dangerous part. Comfort doesn't destroy you all at once. It kills you slowly, quietly, day by day, until you wake up one morning and realize you've become a shell of who you could have been. Men used to be forged through challenge. They had to fight for everything, for food, for honor, for survival. That struggle built warriors. It built focus, strength, and discipline. But today, You don't have to fight for anything. You can have everything delivered to your doorstep without ever leaving your couch. You can live your entire life avoiding difficulty, and that's exactly why most men never grow. Because comfort breeds weakness. It takes away your hunger. It robs you of the fire that drives you forward. The more comfortable you are, the less capable you become. You start trading your purpose for pleasure. You stop chasing progress because comfort convinces you that you've already made it. But comfort is a lie. It's not peace, it's paralysis. It gives you the illusion of safety while secretly keeping you stuck. You tell yourself you're happy, but deep down you know something's missing. You know you're meant for more. You feel that void inside, that emptiness that comfort can never fill. Because comfort numbs the pain, but it also numbs the passion. It keeps you from feeling the discomfort that forces change. The truth is, the only way to grow is to be uncomfortable. Every level of success, every breakthrough, every ounce of power, it's all hidden behind discomfort. When you go to the gym, your muscles don't grow from relaxation, they grow from stress. When you start a business, it doesn't expand through ease, it expands through pressure. When you build your mind, it doesn't evolve through comfort, it evolves through challenge. Discomfort is the doorway to transformation. Yet most men spend their lives running from it. They avoid hard conversations, hard work, hard decisions. And what happens? They stay stuck, living small, living safe, living average. You see, comfort is seductive. It feels good in the moment. It's warm, it's easy. It's familiar, but that same comfort will destroy your drive. It will make you lazy, distracted, soft. The more comfortable you become, the less you want to risk. The less you risk, the less you grow. Before you know it, you're trapped not by someone else, but by your own comfort zone. You've built your own cage and decorated it to look like paradise. But a cage is still a cage. No matter how soft the pillows are, you think freedom means doing whatever you want, but true freedom means becoming strong enough to handle what others can't. Comfort doesn't give you freedom, it gives you dependency. You start depending on comfort like a drug. You can't function without it. You can't handle pressure. You can't face pain. You can't push yourself because you've built your identity around avoiding struggle. That's why when life gets hard, most people break. They've spent so long chasing comfort that they've forgotten how to fight. Every man who becomes great understands this truth: comfort is not your friend. It's the enemy of ambition. It's the assassin of purpose. You must learn to hate it. You must learn to make discomfort your natural state, because the man who can sit calmly in discomfort is the man who wins. He doesn't need life to be easy because he's built to thrive when it's hard. He doesn't need everything to go right because he's prepared when it goes wrong. Comfort is weakness disguised as peace. It keeps you still when you should be moving. It keeps you content when you should be conquering. The moment you decide to reject comfort, you begin to rise. You start to regain your edge. You rediscover the part of yourself that refuses to settle. You begin to crave challenge, to seek out pressure, to find meaning in struggle. Because you finally understand that comfort is the enemy of growth. It's not the pain that's dangerous, it's the absence of it. The man who avoids discomfort never discovers how powerful he truly is. But the man who walks straight into it, who embraces it, who learns to live there, he becomes untouchable. Every man says he wants to be great, but very few are willing to pay the price that greatness demands. Because greatness doesn't come from talent, luck, or opportunity, it comes from pain. Pain is not a punishment, it's a test. It's the universe asking you one question: how bad do you really want it? Everyone talks about success when things are easy, but what happens when it hurts? What happens when life starts stripping everything away: your comfort, your security, your confidence? That's when the truth comes out. That's when you find out if your chosen pain is the filter. It separates the men who wish from the men who will. The weak talk about what they could have done, but the strong prove it through endurance. The weak see pain as a reason to stop. The strong see it as a reason to keep going. Pain is how the world decides who deserves power, because not everyone can handle it. Not everyone can keep moving when their mind is screaming to quit. That's why pain exists, to test your resolve, to expose your limits, to burn away the fake from the real. When you're going through pain, you're not being destroyed, you're being examined. The universe is watching to see if you're worthy of what you say you want. You want wealth. Pain will test your discipline. You want strength. Pain will test your consistency. You want respect. Pain will test your patience. Every goal comes with a test of pain attached to it, and you cannot skip it. That's why most people never get what they want. They fail the test. They fold the moment it gets uncomfortable. They want the crown, but they refuse the battle that earns it. The truth is, pain is the price of evolution. Every version of you that comes next is hidden behind a wall of suffering. You cannot evolve without enduring. Every time you face pain and don't quit, you earn a piece of your higher self. That's why the chosen ones, the real winners, almost look like they enjoy pain. They don't, but they respect it. They understand that pain is the language of progress. It's how the universe communicates growth. It's how life molds warriors out of ordinary men. You can't learn strength in comfort, you learn it in chaos. The problem is, most men think pain is unfair. They think they shouldn't have to struggle. They think their life should be smooth, easy, simple. But that's exactly why they stay average. Because life doesn't test those who don't matter. The universe doesn't waste trials on men with small destinies. If your life feels heavy, it's because you're meant to carry weight. If it hurts, it's because you're being built for something bigger. That's not cruelty, that's purpose. Pain doesn't break you unless you let it. It refines you, sharpens you, strengthens you. It shows you what you're made of. When you're in pain, everything in your mind will tell you to stop, to rest, to take it easy, to give up. But that's the moment you have to push harder. That's the moment when your destiny is being decided. Because pain isn't permanent, it ends, it fades. But quitting lasts forever. Every time you endure, you build a part of yourself that can't be broken. Pain becomes your ally. It becomes proof that you're still in the game, still fighting, still alive. And when you stop running from it, you start mastering it. Pain is the initiation of the chosen. It's how the universe crowns men who are ready to lead. You can't call yourself strong if you've never suffered. You can't call yourself disciplined if you've never resisted. You can't call yourself wise if you've never failed. Everything you admire in others was built through pain. The confidence, the courage, the power, all of it came from struggle. The difference between the average man and the chosen one isn't intelligence or luck. It's how they respond to pain. The average man hides from it. The chosen one hunts it down. Pain doesn't care who you are. It treats everyone equally. But how you respond to it defines who you become. You can either let pain control you, or you can use it as your proof. Proof that you're unbreakable. Proof that you're built differently. Proof that when everyone else falls, you rise. Every painful moment is an opportunity to prove your strength. That's why the chosen don't complain. They don't look for sympathy. They don't ask, why me? They say, try me. Because they understand that every test is a step closer to greatness. Every struggle is shaping their destiny, and every bit of pain is making them untouchable. Every man wants to be unshakable, a force that stands tall no matter what the world throws at him. But very few understand what it actually takes to reach that level of strength. It's not money, it's not status, it's not followers, it's pain. Pain is the sculptor of the unbreakable man. The more you suffer and survive, the less the world can ever control you again. That's what true power is: emotional, mental, and spiritual indestructibility. You don't get that from pleasure. You earn it from pain. Pain doesn't just build muscle, it builds character. It creates a man who can look chaos in the face and smile because he's been through worse. Most men crumble when life gets hard because they've lived their whole lives avoiding pain. They've never trained their mind to endure. They've been too focused on chasing comfort, on finding ease, on making life soft. But softness destroys strength. Comfort kills resilience. A man who has never suffered deeply has no idea who he is, because identity isn't built in moments of pleasure, it's built in the fire. When you're truly tested, when life knocks you flat, that's when you meet your real self. You see what kind of man you actually are, not the one you pretend to be when everything is fine. The man who cannot be broken has already been broken 100 times and rebuilt himself every single time. That's what pain does. It teaches you that no matter how hard you fall, you can rise again, and every time you rise stronger. Every scar becomes proof that you survived what tried to destroy you. Most people think avoiding pain keeps them safe, but what it really does is make them weak. You can't protect yourself from pain. You can only prepare yourself to endure it. Life doesn't get easier, you just get tougher. You become the kind of man who doesn't panic when things go wrong, who doesn't beg for help, who doesn't lose control. That kind of man isn't born, he's forged. Pain is the forge. It burns away your fear, your laziness, your excuses. It melts the old version of you and reshapes you into something sharper, stronger, more focused. And here's the truth. The world respects men who cannot be broken because they are rare, they are dangerous, they move differently. They don't complain when things hurt, they keep going. They don't depend on motivation, they depend on discipline. They don't need comfort, they thrive on pressure. That's why people follow them. Because you can't manipulate a man who's made peace with pain. You can't intimidate him. You can't threaten him. You can't buy him. He's free because pain no longer controls him. To become that kind of man, you must stop fearing pain and start using it. Every time something hurts emotionally, mentally, or physically, it's a signal that you're growing. The man who cannot be broken doesn't run from pain, he leans into it. He understands that struggle is his ally. Every hardship is another chance to sharpen the blade. Every setback is another round in the fight. Every disappointment is another lesson in strength. Pain doesn't destroy him, it trains him. You have to stop looking for a way out and start looking for a way through. Because running from pain only guarantees it will find you again. But facing it, enduring it, that's how you take its power away. You start realizing pain isn't the enemy, it's the teacher. Every lesson it gives is written in suffering, but every one of those lessons makes you more powerful. The unbreakable man doesn't seek happiness, he seeks purpose. And pain gives him that. It gives him something deeper than comfort. It gives him meaning. The truth is, once you've faced real pain, everyday problems stop bothering you. You stop reacting emotionally to nonsense. You stop wasting time on trivial things. You become calm in chaos because you've lived through worse. You've learned that you can't control everything, but you can always control your response. That's the essence of being unbreakable, total self-control, no matter how bad things get. Pain is what gives you that power. When you stop resisting pain and start accepting it as part of life, you transform completely. You become disciplined instead of lazy, confident instead of fearful, strong instead of fragile. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start saying, this is how I get better. You stop being scared of challenges because you've learned that the more you suffer, the more you grow. That's the paradox of power. The more pain you endure, the less anything can hurt you. And when you reach that level, when you've faced pain so many times that it no longer breaks you, you become untouchable. You don't just survive life, you dominate it. The storms still come, but you've learned how to walk through them with your head high. Pain no longer controls you because you've mastered it. It's no longer a curse. It's your greatest weapon. You've turned what others fear into your foundation. And that's how pain creates the man who cannot be broken. Every man dreams of strength, success, and power, but only a few understand the price it demands. The path isn't covered in luxury, it's carved through pain. The weak spend their lives avoiding it, while the strong run straight into it. Because pain is the only true teacher, the only real test, and the only path that reveals who you truly are. The world will try to sell you comfort, to distract you with pleasure, to make you forget what you're capable of, but deep down, you know comfort kills growth. You know that the man you're meant to be is waiting beyond the pain. You keep avoiding pain is not your enemy. It's the fire that burns away your weakness and reveals your strength. Every setback, every rejection, every failure, it's not punishment, it's preparation. It's life sharpening you for the battles ahead. The truth is, the more pain you endure, the more power you possess. Because pain builds perspective, discipline, and dominance. It makes you calm in chaos, focused in fear, and relentless in pursuit. It turns you into the kind of man who doesn't need validation, who doesn't seek permission, who doesn't break under pressure. That's the kind of man the world remembers, so stop chasing pleasure. Stop hiding from struggle. Embrace the discomfort that others run from. Because every time you choose pain over pleasure, you move one step closer to mastery. You move one step closer to freedom. The difference between men who dream and men who achieve is simple. One avoids pain, the other embraces it. The one who embraces it becomes unstoppable. The pain you feel today is the strength you'll depend on tomorrow. Every challenge is an invitation to evolve. Every hardship is proof that you're still in the fight. So stand tall in the fire, don't fear it. Let it burn away everything soft, everything weak, everything that's holding you back. Because on the other side of that pain is the man you were always meant to be: disciplined, focused, powerful, unbreakable.